morning, dear hearts. I said I'd be back from time to time, and it's time. But this is not a lesson. This is something that goes deeper than a lesson. It's something that I believe we need to have this distinction in language. Now, we know that as the Course tells us that words are tools, they're symbols, and at one point in time, we will no longer have any use for them. But currently we do. And so because we have use for words, it is best to understand them the best that we can. There are two words within the Course that we, as the separated ones, tend to misunderstand and use interchangeably, but in truth, they are not interchangeable. Those two words are make and create. Now, going to go first to the Principles of Miracles, number 12, that tells us miracles are thoughts. Thoughts can represent the lower or bodily level of experience, okay, the lower mind, or the higher or spiritual level of experience. One makes the physical, the other creates the spiritual. So anything that is physical has been made. We make the physical. We have made this world. As I've said many times in lessons, it is make-believe. We have made it, we've made it up, and now we believe it. So this whole world, as we experience it, everything that's in the physical is make-believe, made up, believed. But the other, the higher level of our mind, of our spiritual level of experience and existence, creates the spiritual. Who creates? God creates. But as God's children, we can and have the ability to co-create with our source. There's many places throughout the text and the workbook that I can go to explain this, but I'm going to limit it only to a few because I don't want to overwhelm anyone with the information. But the next place I'm going to go is in the text itself, in chapter 3, which is the section we're going to be in is Beyond Perception. The chapter itself is The Innocent Perception. So it's the fifth section in the third chapter. The second paragraph is where we start, and it says, since the separation, that tiny mad idea, the words create and make have become confused. When you make something, you do so out of a specific sense of lack or need. Anything made for a specific purpose has no true generalizability. And I'm pretty sure I've never heard that word anywhere except here. Generalizability. When you make something to fill a perceived lack, you are tacitly implying that you believe in separation. Because if I did not believe in separation, I also wouldn't believe in lack. I would understand and know that my Father, my celestial parent, my source, my creator, has supplied everything that I could possibly want for me. There would be no need to make something else. And that something else that I would make would be pale in comparison to what I have already been given, what was created. So you are tacitly implying that you believe in separation. The ego has invented many ingenious thought systems for this purpose. And it's a little bit off-putting there because it's not just one thought system of the ego that we have to undo. It's many ingenious ones. Do not underestimate the capabilities of the ego because it is great and it is many, and it is cunning, it is guile, and it is working and suffering and striving and fighting for its own very existence. The ego has invented many ingenious thought systems for this purpose, for us to really believe in separation. None of them is creative. Inventiveness is wasted effect. Inventiveness is wasted effort, even in its most ingenious form. The highly specific nature of invention is not worthy of the abstract creativity of God's creations. The abstract, because we don't create the physical. So we are dealing with thought itself. What do we create that is abstract? We have created joy, happiness, love. These are ideas, these are thoughts that we cannot point to it anywhere in the world and say, oh, that's what joy is, oh, that's what happiness is, because it has no physical form. So because it has no physical form, to us it would be an abstract thought. This section goes on in the next paragraph that says, knowing, as we have already observed, does not lead to doing. The confusion between your real creation and what you have made of yourself is so profound that it has become literally impossible for you to know anything, because we are caught in the confusion of, who am I? Am I this body? No. Which, of course, comes later in the lessons, that I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. But the confusion of thinking that I might be a body, and the confusion of not realizing the truth of what I truly am is so overwhelming that then I don't really know anything, because I cannot be sure of anything. Knowledge is of God. Knowledge is of the creation. Knowledge is sure and always the same. But what goes on in this world is make believe. It's all been made up, and it changes constantly. There's nothing in the world, the physical world as we know it, that is sure and can be assured. It is always changing from moment to moment. It changes. It's kind of like, and I've used it before, about Charlie Brown and, is it Lucy, with the football? And she always changes just as he's ready to hit the goal. She changes. She takes the ball away. That's exactly what the ego does to us. It's constantly taking the ball away or moving the goalpost. I guess we need to use those references. I need to use those references because there's a big game about to happen soon. Anyway, knowledge is always stable, as I've said, and it is quite evident that you are not. I cannot be stable in a world that's constantly changing. Nevertheless, you are perfectly stable as God created you. I am as God created me. Now, the next place, and the last one that I'm going to go for now, anyway, is lesson 14. It's a favorite lesson, and I meant to redo it for this year, but it just didn't happen. There were reasons. So anyway, lesson 14, it says it all in the title. God did not create a meaningless world. We had all those lessons leading up to this about things that are meaningless and meaningless thoughts. God did not create a meaningless world. Meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. But God did not create a meaningless world. The idea for today is, of course, the reason why a meaningless world is impossible. What God did not create does not exist. And everything that does exist exists as He created it. The world you see has nothing to do with reality. It is of your own making, and it does not exist. So the world that I see is of my own making, which is, of course, now we realize that what I have made is an illusion, as we are going through the through the lessons, and we just had that I'm not a victim of the world I see, because I cannot be a victim of an illusion. And what I see is something I made, and it is not real, so it's an illusion. This is, as the lesson says, it's another step in learning to let go of the thoughts that you have written on the world and see the word of God in their place. Everything that I have written on this world can be erased. And underneath it, underneath all of the words that I have placed on this world, poor, tired world, underneath all of that is the word of God. This lesson, one of the reasons I love it so much is that it is very to the point, and it says God did not create that war, so it is not real. God did not create that airplane crash, so it is not real. And God did not create that disaster, those fires, those floods, those hurricanes, so they are not real. Are they real in our interpretation of the physical world? Yes. Yes. In this world, they feel very real. But why are they not real? Because God did not lend a hand in them. So they were not created by the hand of God, by the mind of God. And so in truth, with a capital T, they are not real. This is sometimes a very hard thought to wrap our minds around. But this lesson also goes into that these things are part of the world you see, and some of them are shared illusions, and others are part of your personal hell, and it does not matter. So when we see these things, they are our shared illusions, and in truth, as we can share those illusions, but in truth, they still are not actually real. I know that isn't always easy to understand, but it happens to be the truth. So I hope this helped and gave you some encouragement to shift how you speak. Our words are very just tools, but they're very important right now because we're listening to them. So when we start to say something, oh, I made that mess, I made that situation. Yes, you made it. You did not create it. And you don't want to have said, I created it, because what is created is eternal. I don't want that situation to be eternal. I want it to come and go and let it go. I don't want it to be here forever. That's all. That's really all. I hope it helped. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you've not done so, please pass this on to someone else who's studying the course and maybe they need some clarification about make and create. And please continue watching the playlist. Namaste.